It is Monday, April 11th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. This edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to you by Bradley Pirtle, Trash Snack, and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster and the invaluable Timothy Mark. So thank you so much to the four of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign. They're helping make this whole channel and series sustainable for me on a daily basis, which I do very much appreciate. And thank you to everybody who has backed the Patreon campaign at any level. For if you'd like to do so and join their ranks at patreon.com/dailysolve, you'll get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. And also, there is the Daily Solve Discord chat server. It's free for anybody to join, but you also get an extra channel if you're a Patreon subscriber. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. That's also free. Thank you to everybody who's done so. So let's get on to today's puzzle. It's a Monday puzzle. It's so should be fairly gentle, fairly approachable, but it still has a theme. And it was constructed by Rachel Simon, who's a debut New York Times crossword constructor. So well done, Rachel, on getting your first New York Times puzzle. May well have contributed puzzles to other publications, but this is the first for the New York Times, and it was edited, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's get going. Start solving. Still think of that button as OK, even though it says play now. Chemist's workplace. A chemist would work in a lab. A shower scrubber could be a loofah. I think a loofah is traditionally a sort of naturally occurring sea organism. Is that right? But I assume they're mainly synthetic now. I don't know. Maybe everything I've said is nonsense. Madison Avenue Fellow could be an ad man. The advertising industry is traditionally located on Madison Avenue in New York. I don't know how much that's still the case. A poetic tribute, of course, is an ode, the classic official poetic form of the New York Times crossword. And if something is underway, it has begun. Could be, yeah, it must be begun. Looking at these crosses here. Anyway, we'll check the other crosses first. So, are you kidding me? And that's written in sort of text speech, I guess, text language from phone texting, I mean. And so it's OMG, which is also, we're matching the style, I suppose. That's usually how slang clues work in the New York Times crossword. The answer will be of a similar valence, a similar temperament and style to the clue. So here we have earthquakes occur around them. Earthquakes occur around fault lines. And a year in France is an année. There would be an accent in there, but not in the New York Times crossword. A peaceful pasture is a lay, L-E-A. It's a good one to remember for the crosswords. It comes up not infrequently. Cryptic crosswords as well, actually. It comes up. Okay, so let's get back to our crosses up here. Cousin of voila. Well, my first thought was here. You say, voila, here it is. But to my point earlier about matching the tone, that doesn't really fit. Ta-da, maybe, would be a closer match. I wonder if that's what they're looking for. Let's check the crosses. Obsessive about little details, that looks right, because this could be anal, as in anal retentive, caring about all the little tiny details. And blank for the long haul, in it for the long haul. And here we have Dalai Blank, Tibetan priest, the Dalai Lama, of course, the, I suppose, preeminent Tibetan priest. If something is at an angle, it is tilted, of course. And, Anastasia's Love in 1997's Anastasia. Dmitri, I suppose. I've actually never seen Anastasia. The animated film, I think that is. Although, presumably I would still know this if I knew the historical story better. But in any case, it was easy enough to fill in from the crosses in this particular case. If something is no longer happening, it is at an end. And Fortnite and The Legend of Zelda for 2 are video games. So we can fill that in. If something pretties something up, it adorns it. And to loosen as restrictions would be to ease. So the as restrictions means loosen in this context. So to obviously ease could mean ease your pain, but it also, in the case of restrictions, means loosen them. On a more difficult day, they might not have that as restrictions. On a themeless puzzle, for instance, a Friday or Saturday, it might just say loosen and that's it. Tantalizing promos could be teasers, as in teaser videos, teaser trailers for a film. Keep off the grass would be a common park sign. Enjoy a night in Vegas, perhaps. Go. Gamble. That makes more sense. I was thinking of go wild or something like that, but no, I think gamble makes more sense for Las Vegas, the gambling mecca of the United States. You've got mail company. This would be AOL, America Online, which had that. I guess it said it was a person's voice that said you've got mail when an email arrived. School in Cambridge. So this is presumably referring to Cambridge, Massachusetts in the United States, rather than Cambridge, England, here in the UK. And in that case, it would refer to MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is down the road from Harvard University, also in Cambridge. So made turbulent as water. So here we have another one of those as-is. You roiled the water. You made it turbulent. And an alternative to a Tic Tac would be another strong-flavored mint, an Altoid. I think self-described as curiously strong, perhaps. A small whirlpool is an eddy. And blank anything, classic rom-com, classic romantic comedy, say anything. Star Wars character who founded the Resistance would be Leia, Princess Leia from Star Wars. And came into one's own would be blossomed. He blossomed. He really came into your own. A crystal-filled rock, a geode. Yep, I think that is correct. And the yolk's not on them, but in them, eggs. If something is genuine, it is real. And if you're no longer interested in something, you're over it, I guess. An animal on an Xing and a crossing sign would be a deer. It's funny that it says animal on an Xing sign. That implies it is meant to be pronounced Xing rather than crossing, because obviously the X stands for the concept of crossing, Xing crossing, but the an rather than a does suggest we are pronouncing it Xing. That's just it doesn't mean anything. Just as I was reading it, it occurred to me I don't actually know if we're just generally if that terminology would be pronounced crossing or Xing, because it obviously means crossing. But anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about that. If you're snoozing, you're asleep. Outstanding Team Award or Best College Athlete Award. Oh, I think this came up in yesterday's puzzle. It was yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. ESPY, the awards conferred by ESPN, the American Sports Network, television network. And like some humor and wine, you could have dry humor and a dry wine, so that looks right. A brewer's kiln is an oast, I believe. Yeah, I do think that is the case. And I think that there's a Alan Partridge, if you're familiar with the satirical sort of radio personality, British radio personality character, Alan Partridge. He has a podcast, had limited series podcast, character portrayed by Steve Coogan called From the Oast House. And I think the Oast House was a type of building that has some connection to brewing as well. So I think that's probably related. Anyway, now it makes sense. OIC seems plausible. What polytheists worship? I suppose gods, and I guess the key here is that it's pluralized because polytheists would refer to multiple gods. Kind of reaction or instinct could be a gut instinct. And if something is, oh no, I see, not happening in quotation marks. So the fact that not happening is in quotation marks here means we're not looking for a definition of not happening, such as off or halted or something like that. We're looking for another phrase that you would say that implies not happening, which I think, no, perhaps, is it? Although this doesn't look great, does it? I'm not sure. What about this? Watch or clock, a timepiece? Yeah. And construction site vehicles. I'm not seeing it immediately. What about this? Cut wool from. You could shear a sheep. To cut wool from sheep would be to shear it. So not happening. Is that uh-oh? Does that really mean not happening? Oh, it's I see. Right, sorry. These are strange little distinctions and how you pronounce the various combinations of H's and vowels. But I guess this saying is a no, not happening. I see. Okay, so this looks like a dump trucks, construction site vehicles. Yes, dump trucks. Okay, that does fit. And here we have to throw some jabs as to spar. You could have a sparring match, sort of a boxing practice, I guess. French for to be would be être, E-T-R-E, to be in French. And an early buying opportunity, a pre-sale perhaps. Home of Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is a city in the state of Utah in the U.S. Old Spice is a popular one. Old Spice is a popular what? A cologne, is it? Sort of aftershave? And to keep time with the foot would be to toe tap. Sign on a moody teen's door. A moody teen might say, keep out. Rick, who sang Never Gonna Give You Up. Boy, that was a whole phenomenon for a long time. I would say almost a decade, maybe. Rick Astley and Never Going to Give You Up. Never Gonna Give You Up. Blank Beta Kappa, Phi Beta Kappa. A bundle of paper would be a sheaf. You could have a sheaf of paper. And smart speakers from Amazon. This has come up in here several times. Echoes, I think. Amazon Echo, that sounds right. That sounds familiar. Curly-tailed Japanese dog. I think an Akita. Is that blend? And a camera lens setting is an f-stop. So this is a case where you'll see something like setting, and sometimes you don't know is it referring to a specific setting, like high, medium, low, something like that, or is it referring to a category of setting, like volume? And in this case, it's referring to the latter, which would be f-stop, something to do with aperture, I believe, that you can adjust on cameras. Okay, eating utensils that might come wrapped in red paper, chopsticks, I suppose. And a Nordstrom's rival familiarly. So Nordstrom is an American department store chain, and Saks Fifth Avenue, presumably, is the competitor being referred to here. So we'll check the crosses just to be certain. Something to shoot for or to shoot at would be a goal, so that's correct. To throw something in the microwave is to nuke it. And an online marketplace for artisans is Etsy. I think Etsy is fast becoming a crossword mainstay. Oh, we had a revealer. Well, we'll get there in a moment. I just realized, right, I haven't noticed any. Let's see, can we figure out what the theme might be? I'm assuming it'll be these longer compound words. So fault lines, video games, dump trucks. The first word in all of these could be a noun. No, I'm sorry. What did I say? A noun. I meant a verb. Actually, each half could be a verb on its own. Lines could be a verb. He lines the paper or something. Games. You game. You play a game. He games. She trucks along. So I guess that they're all potentially combinations of verbs. I don't know if that'll be anything to do with the clue. I was just trying to find anything that connects these. Fault lines, video games, dump trucks. Oh, and chopsticks. Yeah, actually that follows the same pattern. So I don't know, we'll see. Of bees, prefix. Appy as an apiary. A bee home, environment, whatever you call it. Snakes by the Nile would be asps. Asps famously associated with Egypt. And singer Collins, Phil Collins. 1950s presidential nickname. I think this is probably Ike for Dwight D. Eisenhower. He had a campaign slogan, I like Ike, I think. Verb on a candy heart, probably love, spelled in this sort of contracted way. An Australian young woman is Sheila. That's sort of a stereotypical Australian woman's name. Okay, here we go. Finally, we've reached our revealer officially. Learn as a new skill, or what can precede the ends of 20, 36, 42, and 59 across. Okay, I was on the wrong track entirely. So instead, we're actually using these as nouns, not verbs, quite the opposite of what I thought. So we have pick up would be learn as a new skill, to pick up a new skill, but we could also have pick up lines, pick up games, pick up trucks, and pick up sticks. So there we go. Nice, clean Monday puzzle. Doesn't require anything complicated to figure it out. It just ties together at the end with the aid of the revealer, which is the sort of coherent. It's the clue and answer that ties all of the theme clues and answers together. And sometimes you well, you don't necessarily need it, but sometimes it's helpful in order to solve the theme puzzles. Sometimes, as with this puzzle, it's just a little bonus theme to connect together several of the answers without any complicated mechanical logic. Ending with sea or land would be scape, seascape, or landscape, and then a record holder is a sleeve. So there we go. Let's admire our puzzle. So we had fault lines, which lends lines to pickup lines, video games and pickup games, dump trucks and pickup trucks, and finally chopsticks and pickup sticks, and then pickup, of course, our revealer. So there we go. And I think a relatively approachable Monday puzzle, maybe a couple of tricky things in there. If you didn't know the French word for year or weren't familiar with the stereotypical Australian name Sheila to refer to a young woman, or, I don't know, probably a few things here and there that were Dimitri maybe that were, proper nouns are always more difficult. But I think all in all, you can get this one with crosses. Let me know how you fared. And I'm going to move along because there were several clues from yesterday's puzzle that needed some contextualizing and clarification. So let's dig into those. We had, from Draculord, Knex, K-N-E-X, which according to Draculord here is spelled K''Nex, which would make Knex easier to infer as a pronunciation, as opposed to my first thought, which was Nex, K-N-E-X. Anyway, Knex is a Lego-esque toy, which is probably best known for their roller coaster builds. I'm just getting into crosswords, but love your videos. Have a good Sunday. Thank you. And thank you for the clarification. Okay. Liz Fitz explained, and I'm sure this has been explained to me before, so I'm sorry and thank you. The University of Alabama's football team is called the Crimson Tide, which is why Alabama, or Bama, has Roll Tide as their iconic chant. Thank you. I know I've learned that before. It's familiar now that you say it. I'll try to remember it for next time. Star Wars Muffin 01 corrected my erroneous assumption, I think, that TBT stands for Think Back To. I think that's what I thought because it's often posted with things that are, retro in nature or sort of backwards looking. But Star Wars Muffin 01 explains it actually stands for Throwback Thursday, as in the day you post old nostalgic photos for a throwback. So thank you. Regarding Khan Academy and Sal Khan, Sal came up in the crossword as the creator of Khan Academy. Mr. EQ explains Educator Khan does refer to Salman Khan, who goes by Sal. There was a lot of earlier confusion when he came to some fame because Salman Khan is also the name of a very popular Indian actor. The history of how the Khan Academy, to which this was referring, came to be, by the way, is a very interesting and inspiring one, if you care to look into it. I did look into it. It is interesting. Sal Khan was doing some tutoring for a nephew, I think, of his, perhaps, and he was doing it through an online service. And then he decided to record those sessions on video. He put them on YouTube. He started doing more of these. They became more popular, and that eventually ballooned into an entire online educational resource. So, yeah, very interesting. And finally, Schoolhouse had a funny theory about some of the positioning of the theme clues. Schoolhouse says, I wonder if there's more synergy here in the theme clues than is apparent. Black Star, which was one of the answers in yesterday's puzzle, is David Bowie's last album. David Bowie was obviously a rock idol, and the Black Star and rock idol clues are an exact opposite side of the grids. Exact opposite sides of the grid. Not sure if there were any other of these. These videos have become part of my morning routine. Thanks for making them. You're welcome. And thank you for the kind comment and that good note about Black Star and Rock Idol. I didn't notice that. And it may well have been a small tongue-in-cheek reference. I have that album, actually. It's a good album, I thought. Okay, that's it, I think, for today's puzzle and yesterday's puzzle as well. Thank you for joining me for the Monday puzzle. I'll be back, of course, tomorrow for Tuesday, which should be another relatively approachable themed puzzle with a theme that isn't itself too complex or tasking. So thank you for joining me for this one, and I hope you'll be back tomorrow. But until that point, please do have an excellent remainder of your Monday. Take care.